They handed me a paper plate. In a parking lot. In December. While the executives inside clinked champagne glasses under crystal chandeliers. My name is Nadia Reeves, Senior Systems Analyst at Novex Global. And that night, standing in the freezing cold with a lukewarm cup of coffee, I made a decision. Not to quit. Not to complain. To buy the entire company. Stay with me. Because what happened next shocked every person in that building. The Novex Global Annual Gala was supposed to be the event of the year. At least, that's what the 36 email reminders told us. A 5-course dinner, crystal chandeliers, and a chance to finally meet the executives who lived on the top floor like they were a different species. I walked in wearing my best blazer, badge clipped to my lapel. Nadia Reeves, Senior Systems Analyst. I'm sorry, said the event coordinator, barely looking up from her tablet. Her name was Cassidy. Bright smile. Empty eyes. The main hall is reserved for director level and above. Support staff celebrates outside. She pointed through the floor-to-ceiling windows. To the parking lot, where a white tent sagged in the December wind. I could see a single space heater fighting the cold. And losing. Support staff, I repeated slowly. Company policy, she said, that frozen smile never moving. Mr. Calloway was very specific. Daniel Calloway, our CEO. A man who had inherited Novex from his father, spent his mornings on conference calls he didn't listen to, and his afternoons perfecting his tennis serve. I walked outside. Now here's the part most people don't know. At exactly 4:47 that evening, while I was walking toward that tent, my phone buzzed with a notification that changed everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The parking lot was more depressing up close. 40 employees huddled around folding tables, balancing paper plates with both hands. Someone had strung Christmas lights along the tent poles. They flickered like they were apologizing. Nadia. My colleague Damon waved me over, shaking his head. They really did it. Parking lot. Like we're overflow storage. When did this start? I asked, sitting down. This year, said Priya from accounting, her voice sharp. Calloway's new Operational Clarity Initiative. Separate spaces for separate tiers, he calls it. Meanwhile, Damon added, we just delivered the best quarter in company history. Through the windows, I could see the gala in full swing. Calloway held court near the bar, silver cufflinks catching the chandelier light, laughing too loud at his own stories. I ran the numbers last month, Damon said quietly. Our department drove 78% of Novex's innovation over 3 years. 83% of revenue growth. He paused. You know how many of us got promoted to director level? I waited. 3. 2 left within a year. The third one stopped talking to us. My phone buzzed again. Subject line, congratulations, Madam Chairwoman. I excused myself and walked to my car. A sensible Toyota. The kind Calloway once mocked in a company-wide presentation. Image matters, he'd said, smiling at the crowd. That's the difference between leaders and analysts. I sat in the driver's seat and dialed my CFO. Tell me it's done, I said. Every share transferred, said Thomas Vang, my CFO. As of 4:47 p.m., Meridian Capital Group owns 51% of Novex Global. You own Meridian. So technically, I own Novex. You own Novex. I looked back at the tent. At Priya pulling her coat tighter. At Damon holding his paper plate in the cold. And Calloway still doesn't know? He's been too busy planning the gala to read acquisition filings. Good, I said. Let him enjoy tonight. Tomorrow is mine. Now you might be wondering, how does a systems analyst secretly build a company worth hundreds of millions of dollars? The answer starts 3 years ago with a rejected proposal, a spare bedroom, and one very specific revenge plan. I arrived early the next day. The security guard, Felix, did a double take when he saw me at 7 a.m. Ms. Reeves? All hands isn't for another 2 hours. Just getting some work done, Felix, I said. How's your daughter's soccer team doing? He smiled wide. 1-3 straight. Thanks for asking. I'd made a habit of that. Learning the names of every security guard, every receptionist, every janitor. Because the people executives ignored? They see everything. By 8:50, the main conference hall was packed. Executives filled the front rows, still glowing from last night. The rest of us filed into the back. I took a seat in the very last row, next to Damon. "You look terrifyingly calm," he whispered. "I'm excited," I said honestly. At exactly 9 a.m., Daniel Calloway strode onto the stage. Italian suit. Confident posture. The walk of a man who has never once doubted his place in a room. "Good morning, Novex family." Family. Before we begin, I want to address last night's event format. I know the separate venues surprised some of you, but distinction creates aspiration. It gives our support staff something to work toward. Someone behind me muttered something I can't repeat. Now, let's talk about where Novex is headed. The main doors opened. A woman in a charcoal blazer walked in, followed by 4 people carrying document boxes. Her name was Sandra Okafor, one of the sharpest corporate attorneys in the state. Mr. Calloway. Her voice filled the room like she owned it. "I represent Meridian Capital Group. As of yesterday evening, my client holds a controlling interest in Novex Global." Calloway blinked. "That's not possible." The board would have. "The board was notified this morning." "I'd suggest checking your email." Calloway reached for his phone. His hands were shaking. Around him, other executives did the same, their faces cycling through confusion, panic, and denial. "Who?" His voice cracked. "Who owns Meridian?" The room went very quiet. I stood up. From the very last row. "I do." Every single head in that room turned around. And the walk from the back row to that stage felt like the most powerful 40 seconds of my life. I took the microphone from Calloway's hand. "Nadia Reeves," I said. "Senior Systems Analyst." Or I was, until I checked my watch. 8 minutes ago. The silence was the best sound I'd ever heard. You're probably wondering how an analyst affords to buy a company. I clicked a button. A presentation appeared on the screen behind me. 3 years ago, I brought a proposal to this leadership team. An AI-driven workflow system that could cut operational costs by 30%. You rejected it. I looked at Calloway. "Too ambitious for someone at my level," you said. He said nothing. So I built it anyway. In my apartment. On nights and weekends. And when I couldn't sell it to Novex, I sold it to everyone else. Meridian Capital now holds contracts with 55 Fortune 500 companies. Our annual revenue. I paused. Let's just say it makes Novex look like a warm-up act. The room was frozen. But I didn't buy this company for revenge. I turned to face everyone, the executives in the front, my colleagues in the back. I bought it because this company has people in it who are genuinely brilliant. And they've been wasting their talent serving a system that was designed to keep them small. Calloway found his voice. "You can't do this." "I have a contract." With a performance clause, Sandra said smoothly. 3 consecutive years of underperforming stock. The board can and will terminate for cause. The board, I said, answers to the majority shareholder now. I looked at him one last time. "That's me." From the back of the room, Damon started clapping. Slow at first. Then Priya joined him. Then someone else. Then another. The entire back section rose to their feet. The executives stayed seated, looking between me and Calloway like they were watching the ground shift. "Mr. Calloway," I said, "security will escort you to your office. You'll have 2 hours to collect your things. We've arranged a space for you to sort through everything." I let the pause breathe. "There's a tent set up in the parking lot. I'm told there's a space heater." Even the executives couldn't hold back. A few genuine, involuntary smiles broke through. As Calloway was led out, I addressed the room one final time. "We have serious work to do. Novex is going to become what it should have been years ago, a company where the best idea wins, regardless of where it comes from. No more glass ceilings disguised as org charts. No more credit flowing upward while work flows downward." I looked at the faces in the back rows. "And next year's holiday party? One venue. One team. No exceptions. Because that's what a real company looks like." The applause was deafening. 6 months after that morning, Novex Global was unrecognizable. The executive floor became a collaborative workspace. The parking lot where we once shivered in a tent now hosted food trucks every Friday for every employee, regardless of title. Revenue climbed 38%. Employee satisfaction scores tripled. 3 people from the former support staff were promoted to leadership roles in the first quarter alone. Calloway, I heard, had found a position at a small consulting firm. His new office had a direct view of their parking lot. As for me, I split my time between Novex and Meridian, building something I'd spent years searching for inside someone else's company. A culture where respect wasn't a benefit. It was a baseline. But I kept one thing from that night in the cold. A photo. 40 employees. Paper plates. Christmas lights that barely worked. Coats zipped all the way up, making the best of being told we weren't important enough for the real room. I had it framed and hung it in my office. Below it, one line. Never forget where you came from. Because the view from the parking lot shows you exactly who deserves to be inside the building. And who deserves to be escorted out. If this story hit different, share it with someone who's ever been underestimated. And if you want more stories about quiet revenge and unexpected power shifts, you know where to find us.